right, welcome into Bleav in Phillies. I'm James Biernot. Today is our Alumni Live show. It's Alumni Weekend for the Phillies, so we're going to be talking with a bunch of different guests today. We're very excited. I'm James Biernot, like I said, a student at Drexel University and an MLB podcaster, joined as always by my lovely co-host Mike Lieberthal, Phillies Wall of Famer, two-time All-Star. Mike, how you doing?
Good. I love the word lovely. Thank you very much.
Lovely co-host. Hey, it suits you, I think. And then today we are joined by none other than 25-year MLB veteran, MLB All-Star and World Series champion, Jamie Moyer. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
We're so excited to talk to you. Obviously, you're a player that maybe a lot of people know. You have your name in the record book for a few different things, so we'll be discussing that. But I want to start. You're from Pennsylvania originally. You played college ball at St. Joe's. How special was it to then wear the Phillies uniform later in your career?
Well, like you said, I played a long time, and I don't think during my career I fathomed that I would play with the Phillies after being drafted by the Cubs. And as things kind of rolled throughout my career, it did come full circle. I did have an opportunity to play here in Philadelphia, and at a wonderful time. Newer ballpark. I played in the Vet as an opponent, right, and then got to play in Citizens Bank, and played a little bit with Levy.
Yep.
You get that look about you.
A short time for his 25 years.
Yeah. But it was exciting times here in Philadelphia. Yeah. Obviously, we won the World Series in 2008.
Yeah.
Went back in 2009, fell short. The Phillies have a wonderful, wonderful history.
Yeah.
And to be a part of that, I'm very honored and proud to have had that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was reading in one article while I was doing my research, you admitted that you had snuck out of school in 1980 to go watch the parade, and then getting to be at the parade in 2008. How kind of special was a full circle moment of that?
After we won the World Series, it was like, oh, we're going to have a parade. And I'm like, oh, parade? Why do we have to do a parade? And I'll tell you what, it was unbelievable. I had the emotions of the fans, the people, the city, the support. Coming down one of these back streets, coming right behind Billy Penn, it was like there was nobody around, right? Yeah. I'm like, this is going to be ridiculous. And then all of a sudden we come around, we get onto Broad Street, and it's just a sea of people. It was, I was dumbfounded, right? And, just to see the joy from the fans. And I don't know, they said there was like 2 million people here, I believe. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then, we did the thing at the ballpark, at Citizens Bank Park, and we did a lap over at the link. It was really exciting.
Yeah.
And draining. By the end of that day, I think everybody was exhausted.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's definitely an eventful day. And for Mike, too, I'm interested. Obviously, Jamie, you touched on how great Phillies fans are, and Phillies sports fans in general. They always show out. They're loud. They're proud.
Yep.
Mike, do you have, obviously, you never had the special postseason parade moment, but do you have a special memory with Phillies fans that you want to share?
Well, being drafted in 1990 by the Phillies, it was a team that I was like, God, who are the Phillies in 1990? They were a team that wasn't producing. They were in a last place team, and Darren Dalton was their catcher that wasn't playing well, and everything just changed. The next couple of years when I'm in the minor leagues, and everybody's having these career years. The '93 World Series team, it totally flipped. The Phillies had the third pick in 1990 because they were in pretty much last place over the last 4 or 5 years before that. And then, by the time I got to the big leagues, all those guys were either hurt or retiring.
Right.
And then it was a whole new rebuilding process that started in 94 to pretty much in 07 is when they started getting, the pitching from Cole Hamels to Halladay and I'm like, God, I didn't have those guys when I came up for 10 years. It was the Atlanta Braves that had that staff that just won, the division every year. And it was like one of those years. I mean, they're not making. I think we had one wild card, so it was hard to get in as a wild card then.
Yeah.
But the progression of Philly sports for baseball, especially, I saw it all from the beginning, from to winning the '93 team to losing the 10 years, rebuilding to the new ballpark to the a new team, a new core of players. So
yeah. And it's cool you got to be there. Although you missed the 2008 celebration, you got to see Ryan Howard get his career started, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley. You got to see the backbone
It's all
of that
these guys
team
that I
built.
played
Yeah.
with. All these young players
Yeah.
that just came up that were like, to have a farm system that you
Yeah.
can rely on was incredible.
Mhm.
That produced over the next course of 10 years here is like, something that, the Dodgers had it for so
Yep.
many years in L.A. Where are they getting all these young players?
Yeah.
And now it's, it was great to see the Phillies finally do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to take it back to Jamie and talk about a very special honor you received in your career. So you received one of baseball's highest honors in the Roberto Clemente Award in 2003, obviously given out to someone who has a special talent of being a player, but also a special talent of doing humanitarian work off the field and really giving back to the community. So can you talk to us about the significance of winning that award and what it meant to you?
Well, anytime you're tied together with a human being by the name of Roberto Clemente, and I think anybody who's followed baseball understands who he was as a player, and what he did as a humanitarian at the time during his career. He's kind of looked up to, and very well respected, not only on the field but off the field. And to be able to, I learned the value of giving back and how important that is as a professional athlete. That being able to follow in his footsteps, and I never expected would have thought that I would have earned that award. But it did come full circle, and I was very honored by that. And like you said, to have my name, kind of beside his name at that point in time was very special.
Yeah, I mean, Roberto Clemente, one of the best people in baseball history, and a 3,000 hit guy too, so no shabby player and a Hall of Famer. So that really is a special honor. I want to talk a little bit about some very mind-boggling numbers from your career, Jamie, because you are kind of an oddball in the history books. Not a lot of other guys can claim the same reputation that you can. So
good and bad.
Good and bad.
Right.
Well,
That's
the all-time home runs number we'll go past that.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't mind.
Hey, I
earned that.
Yeah. When you pitch 25 years, you're going to let in a few home runs.
Yeah.
So, hey, it happens. But you are the oldest pitcher to ever record a win, which you did at 49 years old.
Starting pitcher.
Yes, oldest starting pitcher. That's true. You pitched in 4 different decades, so the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, and you faced 8.9% of all the MLB hitters ever to play the game. That's almost 1 out of every 10 guys. That's that's when you put that into comparison, that's pretty incredible. So this is just a question about something you kept up during your career, but did you have any quirks or habits or routines you did that allowed you to pitch these full seasons well into your late 40s?
One thing I did early in my career, when I was in Texas, I got hurt. I hurt my lat, real low in my lat, and it took a while to heal. Came back at the end of the season, didn't think I was overly effective, and just wasn't feeling. I felt right, but just wasn't doing what I thought I should be able to do. And that off season, I came home, and I went to a physical therapist, and started using a physical therapist as if I was still hurt. And the next year I went back to spring training. I felt like I literally had never thrown a baseball in my life, as far as strength-wise and feeling good-wise. And I'm like, I've never really felt this good.
Yeah.
And every year after that, I went to a physical therapist in the off season. That was part of my off season, and I worked on all the little, the little muscles in my shoulder and things like that. And I would work on that during the. I had a maintenance program that I would stay with during the season, but I really felt that was something that allowed me to stay healthy, right? We all know that, when you're healthy, you can perform, and you can probably perform at your best. And we've seen guys that are hurt a lot, right? So, or playing the game nicked up, and they're not quite as effective. So understanding that health was really, really important to me. And, I did a lot of cardio, a lot of running. Like I said, the arm stuff, a lot of catch, a lot of long toss, things like that, that really kind of I think allowed me to stay healthy.
Absolutely. And I mean, seeing a physical therapist and keeping yourself in tip-top shape is super important. So transitioning a little bit, during your career, which obviously spanned multiple eras, you had the 80s, you had the steroid eras, you had into the 2000s. Did you have one guy that really stuck out to you as maybe the toughest at bat, or maybe a few guys that you really just couldn't get a read on?
Wow.
How do you do against Barry Bonds?
Ooh, that's a good question.
He hit his fair share of home runs.
Yeah. But he was the toughest, I thought, for his 15 years.
Yeah. Early in his career, I mean, his bat was always quick. He choked up and hit the ball the other way. I felt like early in my major league career, I was really green. I pitched inside, but I didn't know how to pitch. I didn't know the value of pitching inside. And, guys like him, I wouldn't pitch him in. I was, afraid I was going to hit him, or afraid of making a mistake. I made so many mistakes away. He hit the ball, out of the ball, or hooked it.
Right.
I think he's hit like 6 or 7, maybe 8 home runs off of me. And I mean, that's just, and then as I got older, I pitched lefties in more, and I started pounding him in, and I had, the success rate started to go up compared to where it was early in my career. But,
Or Tony Gwynn. He was
so I didn't face Tony a great deal. I've only, I was either in the American League, and we didn't have interleague play yet. So when I was with Seattle, that was kind of our rival. MLB considered that was our rival. But I didn't face him a whole lot. When I was with the Cubs, we'd go to early in my career, that was that 3-city road trip. You were on the West Coast for at least 10 days. Yeah. 3, 4.
Right.
And then you might have an off day in there, getting out there or coming home. But yeah, I don't. I may have faced him a half a dozen times, but again, the times I have faced him, he was a tough out.
Yeah, those were my 2 favorite hitters between Barry Bonds and Tony Gwynn.
Mike Schmidt was hard. Again, faced him a lot. Obviously the Phillies playing Chicago, faced him a lot. He was a tough out.
That is crazy playing against these guys like Schmidt and Steve Carlton. He pitched the first game against
first
him.
Game was against Steve Carlton.
That is crazy to me.
And
wow.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely nuts to think about that. But those are obviously some good picks for some of the best hitters, all Hall of Famer. Well, aside from Bonds, but that's a whole other issue. But wrapping it up here, the final question I had for you, Jamie, I want to talk about that 2008 World Series a little bit. So in the 2008 World Series, you pitched 6 1/3 innings in Game 3, I believe it was. But I'm hearing you pitched with a severe stomach virus.
Yeah, I think I had some food poisoning.
Okay.
And I still don't know where it came from. But yeah, as we came back from Tampa, I wasn't feeling well. And then, the day of, or the night before, I put I thought I had I didn't know what I had. Yeah. Right. So I put a bunch of sweatshirts on, sweatpants, went to bed, tried to sweat it out, woke up the next day with, everything was soaked, took a shower, went back to bed, got up, had I have peanut butter and jelly.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And some chicken noodle soup, and, it was like, well, I'm going to.
Maybe it made your change-up better.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those days I felt horrible. But, I played my whole career for this day, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss it, right? So, you just kind of move forward and deal with it.
Right.
Right?
Michael
It
Jordan.
all worked out.
Yeah. Jordan had food poisoning. He didn't have it when he was 45, though, and he didn't have to pitch in the World Series that night, so I'll give you the edge there.
No,
but.
it was I kind of look back at it and say it was a nice distraction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can look at it that way for sure.
Less focused
Ease
on the
your
game.
mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we want to give a big thank you to Jamie Moyer for stopping by the show today. It's been an honor to talk to you.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Good luck to you guys with your podcasts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you
need it.
very much. Yeah.